Welcome to the Marketing and Heart Podcast, a show for handmade sellers like yourself that's filled with tips and tricks to help you build a solid foundation for your business. I believe if you made it by hand that you should market it with heart. Now let's get on with the show. Well, hey there and welcome back. This week we are talking about the most profitable crafts to make and sell. But I'm about to explain to you that it's not as simple as picking based on profit. Oh boy, there is so much more than that. So let's get on with this week's episode. What are the most profitable crafts to sell? We all know that crafts are a great way to make some extra money, and there are many different crafts that can be sold. In fact, there is some serious money to be made if you play your cards right and you're willing to put in the work. Some of the most profitable crafts to sell include quilting, knitting, crochet, stamping, sewing, and painting. But it's important to find a craft that you enjoy and have some artistic talent for if you want to be successful selling your work. In this episode, I'll be going over all of the factors you need to consider when choosing which craft you want to learn so that hopefully you can open up a shop and start making some money. And as with all legitimate ways of making money, this is not a get-rich-quick solution. So what are the factors you should consider? For starters, the rarity of the craft. As the world progresses, more and more people are taking up arms against mass production and the disposable culture this has spawned. More and more people are looking for unique, handcrafted items to express their individuality. But as the demand for handmade goods grows, the rarity of the craft grows with it. In a world where anything can be bought at Walmart, handmade goods have become a commodity. Etsy, Handmade at Amazon, and other online marketplaces have made it possible for anyone to sell their handmade wares to a global audience. But as the number of sellers grow, so does the competition. It has become increasingly difficult for crafters to make a living from their art without learning some very essential skills like marketing. And it's not only competition from other sellers, but also from automated production processes that can produce goods faster and cheaper than humans ever could. One of the most unfortunate things about the handmade industry are mass producers and sweatshops in China and other places looking to steal designs and even sellers' photos. Even so, despite this, the demand for handmade is still there, and I believe it always will be. Even if you don't ship to countries known for mass production and copyright infringement, there are still ways for them to get their hands onto your items to copy. They're called international shipping hubs. What they do is use their address to have your item delivered. Your item is inspected, then it is shipped off to the destination country. How do I know this? Well, I always look at the address I'm shipping to in case there are any errors, and some addresses just don't look right. Names like World Asia Air are a dead giveaway. And I'll be real with you, preventing these companies from ever getting your products in the first place is about the only defense you have. No amount of legal help is going to save you once these companies get their hands onto your handmade goods. They'll even steal and use your pictures. Another factor to consider when choosing a craft is the skill level required. Novice crafters may find it difficult to make items that look like they were bought from a store. However, that's really kind of the point if you ask me. People want authentic handmade goods made from human hands supporting human families. They're not looking for items that look like they came right off a conveyor belt. There are many online tutorials and classes that can help beginners get started. There are also numerous crafting communities where people can share their tips and tricks. With a little effort, anyone can become a skilled crafter. So where can people learn to make crafts online? There are lots of online resources where people can learn to make crafts, such as one of my favorites, Instructables.com. They have thousands of step-by-step tutorials on a wide variety of crafts, from making jewelry to building robots. I kid you not, you can learn how to make cardboard furniture. It is so cool. You need to check it out. The tutorials are written by experts and everyday people, so there is something for everyone. And trust me, you're going to be going crazy like it's Martha Stewart at Instructables.com. There's also Craftsy.com, and that's a website that offers online classes in the arts and crafts. The classes are taught by experts in the field and range from quilting to cake decorating to woodworking. Domestika.org is a website that offers online courses in crafts and design. Bug.com is a website that offers classes in art and crafting. The classes are taught by professional artists and crafters and range from beginner to advanced levels. Either good or bad, Market saturation for handmade products should also be considered. Handmade products are a staple in the worldwide economy. From farmers markets to Etsy, people are drawn to the unique and personal touch that comes with a handmade product. However, at some point, the market for handmade products becomes saturated. Too many sellers enter the market, driving down prices and making it difficult for artisans to make a living. This has happened in the past with products like quilts and pottery and is now happening with handmade jewelry and clothing and pretty much everything. While there is still a demand for these products, the market is becoming increasingly competitive. As a result, artists need to find new ways to stand out from the crowd and sell their products. One way to do this is to find your target audience niche. For example, say you sell pottery. What kind of pottery? What type of person want your pottery? Define who you want to sell to. Then make your products especially for that person. Next, the time it takes to make is one of the biggest factors to keep in mind. Making something by hand takes time. Whether it's a quilt, a pie, or a sweater, the time spent on the project is worth it for the final product. The handmade item becomes a cherished possession, one that can be passed down through the generations. Unlike most mass-produced items that break 5 minutes after you buy them, and God forbid, they sell replacement parts. In some cases, it can take days or weeks to complete a project by hand. For other items, such as a quilt, it may take months to finish. The important thing is to take your time and enjoy the process of making something with your hands. One thing to note here is if you don't love what you're making, you will quickly start to hate it. Trust me on that. There have been plenty of jewelry items I've made over the years that I love to make that one time, but when it would sell over and over, I began to loathe making it. So I inevitably and without apology removed those items from my shop. Besides, I wouldn't want to be making things with hate rather than love. But when we are specifically considering that time equals money and what the most profitable crafts to make and sell are, we also have to factor in the time it takes to make these items. You want to make sure that you can make the items quickly, otherwise you can't exactly scale your business. There is no way you can expect to make a full-time living wage by only selling products that take weeks or months to make with a team of one. Now, don't get me wrong, you can have these items in your shop, but make sure you charge what the item is worth. Be sure you also have the quick-to-make items on hand all the time. Otherwise, your shop will be empty. And if you hand make things to order like myself, it'll just make the whole production process that much easier when your shop gets really busy. The next thing to consider, what supplies and tools are needed. When choosing your craft, you'll want to take into consideration the cost of materials as well as the tools. Some industries are insanely expensive to get into. Jewelry making is one of them. I have spent literally thousands and thousands of dollars on jewelry making tools. Materials are pretty darn expensive too. So when you're choosing which craft to make to earn the most money, it might require a pretty large upfront investment. That's why it's so super important to really research the craft and see if it's a good fit for you. Is this something you'd be happy doing all day, every day, for free for the rest of your life? Yeah? Then go ahead and get all the necessary tools, materials, and make sure you get any courses or training to help you learn as quickly as possible. Making mistakes and wasting materials in the early phases of building a handmade business can cost you more than money. It could wind up setting your growth back by months or even years. I recommend starting really small with laser focus. What I mean is, say you decide that leatherworking is what you want to do. Start with mastering only one leather item at one time before learning the next thing. For example, start your leather crafting journey by only making belts. Then choose the next leather item only when you are proficient with belts. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Next, how do you determine what is a profitable craft to sell? The craft industry has continued to grow in popularity with people looking for new and unique items to sell. However, not all crafts are created equal, and some crafts are more profitable than others. So how do you determine what is a profitable craft to sell? Here are a few tips. 1. Look at what is popular already. One way to do this is to use a tool like erank.com. eRank can show you the current top Etsy shops and the current top 100 search terms. If you can find a niche within one of these crafts, you are likely to be successful. 2. Choose a niche that you enjoy. This can help you be more successful with your craft business. What I mean by this is that you can find a popular niche or topic, then craft products centered around that niche. Make sense? For example, I sell jewelry, but not just any jewelry. I sell pagan jewelry. So, do I tell people I make and sell jewelry? Am I just selling jewelry? Nope. I sell pagan jewelry for pagan people, and that is what makes all the difference. So if you're having a difficult time finding the most profitable craft to sell, consider taking the time to research what niches are popular instead, and then make a craft you fully enjoy for that niche. Now that's a win-win scenario. So what are the most saturated product categories on Etsy? There are a few product categories on Etsy that are more saturated than others. The most saturated categories on Etsy are digital downloads, printing services, and handmade jewelry. In particular, at the time of this episode, the digital downloads category has over 3.5 million listings, and the handmade jewelry category has over 3.6 million listings. These high numbers can be attributed to the low barriers to entry in these categories. Anyone with a computer and an internet connection can start selling digital downloads or prints, and anyone with some basic jewelry making skills can start selling handmade jewelry. But does high saturation mean you shouldn't make the item? Quite the opposite, actually. Remember when I mentioned choosing a niche? Don't forget, it's not just handmade jewelry you're selling, it's handmade Celtic jewelry or handmade boho jewelry. It's not digital downloads you're selling, it's digital downloads for busy moms who are also entrepreneurs. You see what's going on here? Saturation is no reason not to make that item, but it's rock solid proof that you should. But only if you can verify with a tool like eRank that people are actually searching for these items. So in conclusion, there are a variety of profitable crafts to sell depending on your interests and skills. If you're creative and enjoy making things, then you can find a craft that is both fun and profitable. Start by doing some research online or in craft magazines to find ideas. Then get started on your new craft business today. Thank you so much for listening. If you're looking for more ways to grow your handmade biz, why not head over to my website at www.marketingandheart.com. See you there.